In this very short video, I will be discussing the quiz that you completed on the digestive system, and I will also discuss the remainder of the semester, including your third and final practical. The results of your lab quiz on the digestive system were excellent. The average was 93%. Of the 19 students who took the quiz, 16 scored 90% or greater, 2 scored 80 to 89%, and only 1 less than 80%. So I was quite impressed by your performance on the lab quiz. There are just a couple of questions that were missed more than others that I want to talk about, and one of those was this question where I pointed to this portion of the stomach and I asked you to name the region, and the answer I was looking for was the cardia or the cardiac region. And notice that I put region in all caps to note that a region is what I was asking for. Probably the most common incorrect answer was cardioesophageal sphincter, which is very close to the cardia. If I want you to identify the cardioesophageal sphincter, then I'll point to the outer surfaces of the esophagus, because the cardioesophageal sphincter is a muscle that controls the movement of a swallowed bolus into the cardia of the stomach. So if I want cardioesophageal sphincter, I'll specifically ask you to name the structure or muscle, because it is a muscle. If you did answer cardioesophageal sphincter for this question, I did give you half credit. In this question, I asked you to name the specific hollow organ, and I pointed here. This is the duodenum. It is the first segment of the small intestine. Small intestine was not a sufficient answer, as I asked for a specific hollow organ. You know this is a duodenum because it loops around the head of the pancreas. This is the pancreas, pancreatic duct shown here in white, and this is the spleen. This image is in Quizlet, so if you study your images in Quizlet, you should have no problems identifying the duodenum moving forward. Today, during the live session, you will be completing a learning activity on the cardiovascular system. This provides you with the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have, clear up any confusion that you have about the cardiovascular system. And then at the end of the live session, a quiz on the cardiovascular system will open. It will remain open until Thursday of next week at midnight. As always, use your Quizlet to study the material for the cardiovascular system lab. This, by the way, will be our final lab quiz. For next week's live session, which will be our final live session, complete lab number 13, which covers the anatomy of the respiratory system. It's due at the beginning of class. We will complete a learning activity on the respiratory system anatomy, get any questions you have answered, and as that is our last lab, I will address any questions that you have about that lab or the other labs that will be on your last practical exam. As always, use your Quizlet to study. Your final practical will open at the end of class next week, and it will close the following Friday, December 18th at midnight. The format is exactly the same as the previous: 50 questions, 45 minutes. The questions are presented one at a time, no backtracking, and a total of 250 points, or 25% of your grade. So you have as early as the end of class next week to take this practical, or as late as the following Friday, December 18th. So you can finish your semester as early, or you can push it out to the very end of final exam week. Really, it's up to you. Take the practical when you feel you are ready. As I did in the previous practicals, I will be posting a couple of practice practicals. I'm going to post a 40 question practice practical. And you can, of course, take that unlimited number of times, and I award extra credit if you hit certain scores, as shown here. For those of you who would like a shorter practice practical, I'll also be creating a 25 question practice practical, but there will be no extra credit associated with this practice practical. That's a wrap, my friends. I will see you next week and online.